Yes, YouTube, how are we doing? So today I'm going to be talking about a topic that I feel like is almost overlooked in the fitness industry, and that is the importance of your personal brand. So there's a lot of people out there creating a lot of content on acquisition, sales, setting, outbound, paid media, everything else into that side, providing loads of value. But I feel like there's not as much content on what's actually focusing on the importance of your personal brand, right? It's your personal brand what is going to, in essence, lead to people coming inbound to you. So if you're in a situation where people are genuinely bought into who you are as a person, your opinions, your beliefs, your experiences, then that is without question going to lead to a point of us having a much greater likelihood of generating more sales. It's going to lead to a much greater likelihood of people actually coming in and following us, right? Your personal brand is the single thing that's going to separate you from every single person that's out there. So I've done a previous video on this, but I'll just do it again. So when you've got the people in the fitness industry at the moment, we've got this, right? So there's loads of people in a situation where we're all talking about the same thing, probably in essence offering the same thing, using the same fitness app, same everything, right? It's your personal brand up here what's going to enable you to be separated from that market, right? So your personal brand is absolutely paramount, right? It's paramount for you to be in a 10 times better situation than anyone else because people are simply just bought into you more, right? So if we use this as a model, right? The guy on the left-hand side, so this stick man, probably wanted to put a bit of muscle on him by the looks of things. But this person here is, in essence, what you've got to imagine is your social media audience, right? Your social media audience is left with a situation every day where they need to think about who they want to work with, right? And what we've got to take into account is there are now hundreds of thousands of people doing the same thing. And then we've got us or you over there, right? So for example, what we don't want to be is we do not want to be in the situation where we are having to create as much noise. We're having to focus on as much desperation. We're having to focus on as much fear of missing out because we simply don't have the situation where someone is bought into us as a person, right? So if I then come down onto the bottom and did a comparison, right? So if we're going to look at how we stand out in a saturated market, which the fitness industry is, if you're doing the same thing as everyone else, the people who are battling and struggling and really just kind of fighting to keep the business growing is the people who have no personal brand, who have no short form message, they have no clear offer, and they have no opinions or beliefs, right? If you are in a situation where you have done the thought behind this and you have clearly presented your personal brand, you have clearly got a message that people relate to, you've clearly got an offer, and you clearly present in your opinions and beliefs, then it is in my theory and in my experience that you are going to get 10 times greater growth, right? So if I look at some of my top performing clients, Beth Dobson, Sarah Catterson, Sean Casey, and all these type of people, they've got a substantial amount of followers. Why? Because they've done the focus to actually focus on their personal brand, which means that business becomes easy for them because people are bought into them as their initial starting point. So what I want you to think about is, right, if you feel like you are currently in this crowd here, it's going to be down to the fact that something is missing in that block, right? If you are in a situation where we tick all of these, then without question, someone is going to look at all these people who's creating noise and desperation and fear of missing out and trying to just be the loudest in the room. And all they're going to do is they're going to look at this and go, actually, that doesn't sound like a bit of me. I want to come in and I want to work with that person, right? So that's how important your personal brand is, because people will attach onto you as a person even before it comes down to your actual offer and your message, right? People will want to work with you based on who you are as a person. So when we're basically looking at, right, how do you actually start to formulate a personal brand? What we've got to take into account is so many different situations, right? So as a first starting point, what you've got to think about is positioning, right? So positioning is all about where you stand with someone. So I use an analogy. I'm not going to swear on this YouTube video, but I always use an analogy where, in essence, let's just say that 5 people walked into a room, right? We had one person who said hello to me, but was a bit of a twat, right? We had one person who come in and said hello to me and they were really nice. But then I had another 3 people who come in and didn't say anything at all, right? I would still trust these people here more than these people because at least I know where they stand with their opinion, right? So if you are currently in a situation where you are creating content and posting, but you have got nothing which is about your opinions, right? You don't have much which is about your beliefs, and you don't have much which is about your experiences, then what are people actually buying into, right? So if we look at the top performing content that is out there in the industry, right, it's going to be down to these variables. It's going to be down to opinions, it's going to be down to beliefs, it's going to be down to experiences. So when we're basically looking at a starting point, people are concerned about this, because in essence you're left with that question where it's almost like, well, what if that person and what if my audience doesn't agree with my opinion? What if my beliefs don't actually align to who's on my audience? What if my experiences aren't really what's going to relate to those people, right? What we've always got to kind of look into account here is, imagine that we have got these different, how can I explain this one? Imagine that we've got this box, right? And in this box is basically your people, right? Your people are in this box, and the people who are in this box are going to basically look at all of these variables and think, actually, wait, I really relate to that message. I really relate to that person, right? Even though, for example, in this box, let's just say that you've got 5,000 followers. And let's just say that within this box, there are 1,000 people who are really bought into you as a person, which is leaving 4,000 people out of that. Right? But we know that in order for someone to trust us, that's what's going to lead to them paying us money, right? So trust will always lead to more money. So people will trust you based on your opinions, right? If someone aligns to your opinions on something, then they're going to be more than likelihood to actually trust what you are doing. If they believe in the same beliefs as you, and if they've been through experiences the same as you, then we might be getting and talking to the people who are actually within this 1,000, right? Guys, if you're running a high ticket one-to-one coaching service and you had 1,000 clients, you would be earning a ton of money, an absolute substantial amount of money. So why does it matter about these 4,000 people who might not relate to that opinion, who might not have the same belief system as you, who might not be in this kind of perspective of, in essence, I've not really been through that same experience? It doesn't matter, because we're trying to talk to the people who are actually coming in and wanting to work with us and align to us. So if I look at the rest of this list here and I jump straight down, right? So what I want you to imagine right now is you have done the groundwork and you have got yourself in a situation where you have got a really, that's going to go smudge. If we're in a situation where, I'm just going to draw that out, we have got a very clear offer as a starting point. So if our offer really aligns to that niche, and then we have got a message. So my message, as I've spoken about so many times, is which is do it right, which is so important to me. But let's just say, for example, at this point right now, we have got a really clear actual message that we're actually putting out. If you combine that alongside you, that's how you make a lot of money. Because if people rely to what we are offering within our service, and that niche creates a action off the back of wanting that offer, and they align to our message, so we're in a situation where people are actually trying to trust us, and then at the same time they actually genuinely really like you as a person, then that is going to lead us to be in a situation where someone's going to have a much greater likelihood of actually making money. So when we're basically looking at this graph, right, you're going to put yourself in a really strong position, because rather than having to come in and just focus on hitting as much outbound as humanly possible, we're going to basically lead to a point where we're going to have inbound interest coming through. And guess what? Do you know, when this person here has actually gone through your coaching process and they feel really good, what are they going to do from that point? They're going to come through and they're actually going to refer your services over. There's a big element that people forget about, and is that's the fact that you actually need to be liked, right? So when we're looking at how does someone like us, it's going to come back to that core foundation of us being really open, right? Being really transparent, actually being authentic with our content creation. Because at the end of the day, if we're in a situation where we're really open and transparent about what we've just spoke about with our opinions and beliefs, right, it's really clear who we are, and that you're not kind of one of those people who looks really two-sided and dodgy, and you're really authentic and people are actually bought into you as a process, then they are going to be the first people who's going to turn around and buy into that offer, right? The first people who buy into those opinions. So when we are looking at your content creation process, yes, it is about pain, without question. So in order for us to get pain, then that's going to basically lead to a form of action, right? But what I want you to consider as we're coming to the back end of this video right now is, how can you actually put you first in front of that pain to then get to a point of an action, which is then going to lead you in a position where you have not only got actual action, but you've also got trust as well. If you can put yourself in a situation on social media with content creation where you are focusing heavily on your personal brand, really presenting your own experiences, your own beliefs, your own opinions, being vulnerable at times, showing your wins, and in essence making the journey about you, that is how you populate culture. That is how you build a community, right? You will never build a strong community where all you are ever doing is thinking about, oh shit, right, how much noise can I make with my content? How much can I push outbound? How much can I push fear of missing out? And forget about all of this stuff, right? Do the groundwork. Focus on yourself first. There is the only thing that is going to separate you with all the other online coaches and personal trainers out there is your personal brand. And whether you avoid this like I did for the first 5 years of my career is completely down to you. But the sooner that you realize that in order to get an action off this person, they actually need to be bought into me as a person, and I need to make sure that I'm presenting my opinions, beliefs, and everything else, then you're going to be struggling, right? You're going to be running fear of missing out. You're going to be scaling with scarcity, right? You're going to be struggling. So what I want you to really think about is when you put your next batch of content together, how can you actually put this person first? How can you talk about a topic of value with pain, but talking about your own personal experience in that situation, rather than just throwing value at people? Relate what you are doing to you as a person, because every single time that you do that, all you are doing is you are increasing trust, you are increasing connection, and you're going to lead to that chance and that likelihood of someone turning around and going, actually, do you know what? Yeah, I am going to choose you. So again, out of all the videos that I put out on YouTube, this is without question the biggest one. It's the area that I did not focus on in the start of my career, and it's my biggest regret. I've said on a social media post the other day, my biggest regrets in business is not focusing on my personal brand 10 years ago, not focusing on YouTube 5 years ago, and not focusing on sending out daily emails 2 or 3 years ago, right? And then you've got paid media on top of that, which again would have been properly 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So do not be in the same situation as me where you look back and think all those years that I lost. Get straight into your personal brand now. Your personal brand is without question the one thing that will differentiate you from the market and make people buy into you and buy into your services. So see you on the next video, guys.